Greetings and salutations. 2017 was shit. Colossally was not a good time for anyone. Politically, personally, like it was not a good time. But that does not mean that I had some of the best experiences of my life at random points throughout this year. So this is a video about me talking about some of my personal highlights of 2017. Just a warning, these are not in order because, to be honest, I can't really remember the exact dates for a lot of them, so we're just gonna go for it. So first of all was meeting Denville at the Cool for Summer Festival in February. Now, in saying that, the festival itself was terribly run, was like terribly set up. The management, it was set up by Amplify, that should say a lot. It was not a great festival, but obviously meeting Denville was incredible. They were so kind, as they always are. I got them to sign my photo from when I met them at Tatanoff, and it was just, you know, they give the best hugs, and I walked out and immediately started crying because I was just so happy in that moment. Not to mention, I made so many friends that day, some of which I'm still in contact with. But I went and saw them in Melbourne. I'm from Adelaide. I knew no one, but it was so easy to make friends with people who were as in love with these two tall British dorks as I am. Obviously, Reputation by Taylor Swift coming out was a huge highlight. Like, you have no idea how happy it makes me when Taylor is active. Like, I remember the day after she posted the first Snake vid, I was at school and like multiple people said to me that I seemed way happier because I am when she's like actively in my life, and it's genuinely my favourite album she's ever released, and I am so just in love with it, and I'm so glad that that happened this year and kind of, in a way, for me, saved the year just a little bit. The other thing that saved this year were two badass redheads from the 80s, Max Mayfield and Beverly Marsh, and if you have anything bad to say about them, I will personally fight you. Like, hit me up, give me your address, I will show up at your door and fight you. A very personal highlight of the year was one time when, I think it was for my birthday, I was staying at my friend Taylor's house and we had bought pizza, but I'm not a huge fan of pizza, and Taylor's mother, knowing me from when I was a very small child, knows that I'm not a huge fan of pizza, and bought me this box of like chicken stuff as an alternative. In said box was chicken wings. My friend Chloe was not happy about the chicken wings and started like just intensely screaming about the fact that there were chicken wings in her presence, and made my friend Taylor eat them so she no longer had to be near them. Something else that was just a huge highlight was seeing It, the horror Stephen King adaptation, with my friend Taylor. It is literally one of my favourite memories of all time. It was just the two of us and we were just sitting there and we were so happy, and we were both getting scared at all the same moments, and we were both, I don't know, we both just fell in love with the losers throughout the film as well, and it was just one of the most fun experiences like I've ever had. It was a very, very good night for me, and I very, very much enjoyed it, and obviously that threw me into the It fandom, and I would not have wanted that to happen with anyone else. On the subject of It, kind of, I watched Stranger Things 2 by myself in a fort. The day that the season was premiering, I think I had a pupil-free day from school, so I was at home. It came out at about 5:30 p.m. Australian time for us, so throughout the day my mum had helped me set up a fort. I had made my own one initially, and my mum said it was pathetic and helped me build a better fort, and I set up Christmas lights under there. I got heaps of all my like pillows and put them all onto them, made it really cozy, and then my mum ran and got me McDonald's at 5 o'clock, like exactly, and I was freaking out. I was like, Mum, we don't have time, and she was like, you need dinner. McDonald's was the quickest thing. We ran like 5 minutes down the street, bought me some McDonald's, got home, had about 5 minutes to spare. I set myself up, I ate my McDonald's, and then I sat down and I watched all the Stranger Things 2 by myself in this for 9 hours straight, and it was so wonderful and personal, and I had such a good time by myself for 9 hours. On the actual topic of Stranger Things, probably the biggest highlight of this year for me was Supernova. Supernova is an Australian comic book and gaming convention, and I went with two of my best friends, Georgia and Taylor. It was Georgia's first time ever at a convention. I went both days with her, one day with Taylor, and the whole weekend was an absolute dream. I actually met someone who was a huge influence on my life. I met her 4 times throughout the weekend, Millie Bobby Brown. Yeah, that happened. It was so intense. She was so genuine when I told her she looked cute because she looked adorable. I met her twice on the first day, an autograph and then a photo, and then I got 2 photos with her the second day as well, a single and a one with my friend. I went completely broke. But the photo with my friend, I went in and I had the idea of holding pinkies, which is such a basic thing to do with, you know, public figure, but I was like, it makes sense with her because promise, pinky promise. And I went in and Millie was like, oh, what are we promising? And I had nothing planned. I was just like, oh my god, I don't know, I did not think this through. And she like looked at my friend and she was just like, and she looked back at me and she was like, and I was like, and then she was like, we're promising to be friends forever, and just grabbed my pinky. And like, what even? I also asked her a question at her panel, which I thoroughly regret now, because basically everyone at her panel had asked her intelligent questions or told her heartfelt stories, and then I got up and I was one of the last people. I'd had my hand up the entire time. I kind of like at the end I lowered my hand because I didn't want to say my question because I was embarrassed by it, but the lady had seen my hand up the entire time and dragged me out of the aisle, gave me a microphone and was like, what's your question? And I asked Millie if she thought anyone at the snowball would have recognised Elle as Mike's second cousin from Sweden. She laughed and said it was the weirdest question she had had in a long time. Earlier in the year, like much earlier in the year, I saw La La Land. Saw it for the second time, I believe, in cinemas with my friend Taylor. And I don't know if you're familiar with La La Land. Basically, it goes through seasons. So after Start a Fire, which is John Legend's song, finishes, it changes to Fall, and there's huge letters on the screen that say Fall. My friend Taylor, very loudly in the cinema, people laughed at her, goes, fail? As in, because she thought that Seb, who had just rocked this concert, they were like, you had gone inside of Mia's head for a second, and she'd just been like, fail. That's the whole story. Another huge highlight of my year was like the Swiftmas. I love Swiftmas every year. Seeing my feed filled with people smiling and being kind to each other is so amazing. I don't know why. 3 of my friends decided to send me gifts or letters and like lollies and little like artwork, and I am so I still can't believe it happened, but every time it just made my day completely, and I'm so in awe of the fact that I have such incredible friends, and 2 of the people who sent me things I get to meet next year in Melbourne. Speaking of next year in Melbourne, another highlight of this year was buying Reputation tour tickets, Snake Pit tickets, to go see Taylor Swift with Tyler. Speaking of Tyler, another highlight of this year was all my adventures with her, whether it be us running around the entire city after Reputation came out to try and find different copies with the posters we didn't have yet, or trying to find this vintage diner, or, you know, even just waiting for our friend Sarah, who had slept in for ages, or going to a Swiftnik that turned out to be like 5 people. It was every memory I have with Tyler, I just cherish so much. She's a literal fairy and she makes me so happy, and just I became so much closer with her this year, and I'm so grateful for that. Moving back to the It thing, I just remembered this happened like 2 days ago, but I showed It to my friend Georgia, who I went to Supernova with for the first time, and I told her that it wasn't too bad. We had like lights on, like she doesn't do horror very well, and I was like, okay, cool. I tried not to tell her about some of the scares though, because I was like, I want to see if she gets scared by these. Something I didn't tell her about was what I think is the worst jump scare of the film, where Beverly has just beat up her dad, and then you turn around and Pennywise is there and he starts choking her. Yeah, she screamed like high-pitched like for a long time, and it was really funny. And then my dad knocked on the door and had a lunch for us, which was KFC, because we are Steve Harrington trash. Not a word of a lie, we got KFC because of Steve. We're fine, we're normal. And probably the greatest thing that happened this year, as well as Supernova and meeting Millie there, was Taylor Swift viewing my Instagram story. Not only that, let me tell you the story of why this was the coolest notice that has ever happened to anyone. So on October 8th, my birthday is October 23rd, I made a post on Instagram saying the only thing I really want for my birthday is for Taylor to notice me or notice my friends. The next morning, I woke up and checked who had viewed my Instagram story, which was a photo of me, Tyler, and Sarah, and Taylor Swift had seen it. I called Tyler instantly in tears, and we cried to each other about the fact that Taylor Swift had seen our faces for a while. 2 days later, Taylor Swift viewed Tyler's Instagram story. I literally got my entire birthday wish, and that is still the craziest thing to me. That's all I'm going to talk about. There were some other good moments, but those were the really, really good things that happened to me, that stood out to me, that I wanted to speak about. Comment nice things that happened this year for you, because I know this has been a very, very difficult year for all of us. So maybe comment some of your highlights and we can reminisce on the good things and hope that 2018 has more good in store for us. I love you. I'll see you soon. Mwah.